Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing about another cruise that we went on during Christmas. So this cruise we went on was another Carnival cruise, and it was on the Carnival Paradise. And it was a lot smaller boat than what I've been used to, and I'm sorry to say that I was kind of disappointed by that whole trip. But I'll get to that later. We'll start off with Florida because that's where our cruise ship went out of. And we went there a couple days early just so we didn't have to deal with flights and everyone traveling around Christmas. And so we stayed in a hotel, and I think the place we got sushi at, which is what I'm drawing, was called Shogun Sushi. And it was very good, like by far one of my favorite sushi places I've been to. I know there is a Shogun restaurant that does have like an unlimited sushi for a certain amount, and that's one we thought we were going to, but ended up actually going to another one on accident. So I was kind of sad about that, but kind of not, because we ended up sharing all kinds of sushi rolls, so it ended up being good no matter what. But Florida was just spent hanging out, and we ended up getting there like really early one morning. So we were like taking a nap in the afternoon, and then I think we went to a really good Mexican food restaurant. I can't remember what it was called, but I thought it was really good. But yeah, Florida was just hanging out until we needed to board our boat. And when we boarded our boat, it was pretty quick. We went through all the customs and stuff like that, and we sat down for probably about 10-15 minutes, but that was just because we were waiting on family, and the other boat, like the boat was not ready for us to get on yet, so there was a little bit of a delay, but it didn't seem like it took that long. So the Carnival Paradise has, I think, around 14 to 15 floors. So normally I'm used to the Celebration and the Breeze, and those are like 20 plus floors. So this one was very small, and it wasn't only that the height was smaller, I feel like the length of the boat was also smaller. But when you first get on, you have to go do your muster station, and then you can go doing whatever you want. So once we were on the boat, I did go to the buffet because that's open right when you get on, and had some food. All of our family was able to sit at tables, and we were just relaxing before our rooms were opened up, because they only open up rooms at a certain time. So before then, you just kind of chill around the boat. But the reason this cruise wasn't as enjoyable as other ones is it wasn't just because the boat was small. It was very run down too, and I know it's one of their older boats, but I just expected it to be kept better. Like, the floor my parents was on stunk to high heaven the whole time, and it was only their floor, and I don't understand why it was like that. But that's not the only reason. Our service, and I normally love Carnival cruises, and the service is normally excellent, but this time it was really lacking. And I don't mean to sound like a snob in that way, but they were just forgetting stuff, and we would ask and have to ask multiple times to get what we needed, and it just wasn't as good as it normally was. And I don't know if this boat was just a training boat or what, but we did struggle a lot with that. But that being said, our family does have fun no matter where we go, so we had a fun time no matter what. I just feel like if you're paying that much money to go on a cruise, that it should be a better overall experience that we had. But with all that being said, we did do a white elephant for Christmas, and it was actually a lot of fun. We ended up playing games after that, and we laughed a lot. No surprise at all, I ended up bringing a sketchbook for my white elephant gift, and I ended up actually getting it. I was so happy. Because I was number one, I was able to either steal or keep or open at the very end, and I had gotten something stolen from me, so I already opened another gift, and then I got to steal again after that, and I'm very glad that I was able to do that because I ended up with the sketchbook. And I think there was like puzzles, there was board games, there was Lego sets, there was water bottles, all kinds of really cool stuff. I just knew that I really wanted to keep this sketchbook, and it just so happens it was the Ahuhu sketchbook that I had bought, and I knew I needed a sketchbook pretty soon, so I was like, I'll just keep this one instead of all the other gifts. We did have the drink package for this cruise, so that allows you 15 drinks a day, and that's only alcoholic drinks. The coffee was also included for us because there's always a cafe on the ship, and sodas, anything like that we wanted was included in that. I think another reason I was disappointed in the cruise is the weather, and I know that Carnival obviously can't control that, but it was just very cloudy, not very sunny, and I didn't hang out on the pool deck very often because of that, and it was rainy some days, but obviously it's not something they can control. It just so happened that it was raining while we were on the cruise. But I did eat a lot of good food over this vacation, and everything on the boat food-wise was very good. I don't think there was anything that I didn't like. And they just have so many options that you can choose from. It was a lot getting all 12 of us together to go to dinner because before you can check into the dining room, you have to have your whole party there. So it was a lot trying to corral everybody. And I ended up rooming with my brother, and that wasn't bad at all because we hardly ever stay in the room, and he was just fine. He napped most of the time, so we had a good time. The first full day on the boat was obviously a sea day because they always start off with those. And during the sea days, they offer a sea day brunch that's only offered on the sea days. So when you're at port, they don't offer this, but it's just a really nice breakfast in the restaurant that they normally offer the dinner at. And so my family went to that the first sea day, and they always have really good food. Like, I normally get the steak and eggs just because their steak's normally really good. And I think I ended up getting the Voyager burger also. I'm not quite sure, I can't remember. But that was really good as well. The second stop we had, which is what I'm coloring in now, was Cozumel. And I think we got to Cozumel on Christmas. And the places we were looking at going had all been closed because of the holidays. Like, they had closed down some of the resorts and beaches and stuff that we had planned on going to. So we went to a place that was open, and it had a beach and it had chairs and stuff like that. But I really love to snorkel when I go on cruises and go to beaches and stuff. And the snorkeling wasn't great. We did see quite a few things. Like, we saw a stingray. It didn't really look like this one. It more so looked like a rocky stingray. I don't know the exact name of it, but it looked rocky. And we saw a whole bunch of starfish. I did end up seeing a barracuda by myself, and I actually got it on video, but it was so creepy. I happened to see something out of the corner of my eye, and I turned, and it was just staring at me. And so I got a video of it, but obviously I was backing away really quickly because they can be quite aggressive, and I didn't want to test that out. I had some fish tacos that they offered at the bar, and those were my favorite fish tacos that I have ever had at the time, because there was another stop that ended up one-upping that, but they were really good, and you can tell all the ingredients were fresh, and I did enjoy that stop. I just wish the snorkeling was a little bit better because that's what I enjoy doing. And if you go snorkeling or go on cruises a lot, I highly recommend getting your own masks, because the masks that we use are the ones on screen, and they're just so much better than just regular snorkel masks with the snorkel that attaches to it, because you don't have to worry about the snorkel getting in the water. And if you do dive, it has a mechanism where it closes off and no water is able to get in there when you dive, and then you come back up and you can breathe air again super easy. And I do recommend, though, if you're gonna get those masks, that you get a fog spray because they do have a habit of fogging up a lot. So if you use that fog spray and then just wipe it off after like 30 seconds, it helps a lot. Side note, I also wanted to say the art supplies I'm using in this video are my Ohuhu alcohol-based markers. I always use those, as you can tell. My RTX acrylic markers, and then some Woomer colored pencils for extra details. We definitely should have thought about places being closed for Christmas, but we didn't, and we had just done research on the places that we wanted to go and didn't see that they were closed for Christmas, but it didn't say on their website that they were. So it wasn't all our fault, but we ended up going to a place that we weren't too psyched about, but it ended up doing just fine. My mom is fluent in Spanish, so it was really nice having her around with us because she would explain and talk to a lot of the people on the trip, and we were able to easily communicate with them and get to where we needed to go. Grand Cayman was our last stop, and this place to me was probably my least favorite, but it also had stingrays. It had one, and it looked a lot more like the picture above. But I wanted to draw the turpin in this picture because there was a lot more of those. When I went snorkeling, it was right off the boat, like right off the dock area, and there was just huge turpin all around us. And at first, I was very intimidated to go in the water, but my mom had talked to the fish shop that was on, like, right off the beach, and they said that they're not harmful to people at all. So then I became a little more adventurous and went in the water because I am not kidding you, they were probably 3 to 4 feet long, and they were huge silverfish. So that's why I wanted to draw that fish for Grand Cayman instead of a stingray. Of course, by the time I started drawing this one, I was a little bit more warmed up and comfortable, so I was able to use a lot of different colors to make the colors of the fish, and I think I had the most fun coloring in this one, and I just love the composition, how the words are around the fish, and everything else compared to the other ones. Before I went snorkeling, though, we did end up stopping at a restaurant to eat, and these were the fish tacos that were the absolute best of the whole trip, and it made the trip worth it to me because they had like a coleslaw on it and then fish, cheese. It was so good. And then we had fried conch, and I can't remember what else we had. I know we had a lot of different things, and I think this restaurant was the coolest that we stopped at port. And what I mean by fish shop is there was a couple canopies set up, and some guys were sitting underneath them in chairs, and they had gutted fish on the table, and you could tell that they threw all the bones and stuff in the water that was right there off the beach, because as soon as I went under the water with the snorkel, there was just fish bones everywhere. And I remember them throwing like a piece of fish into the water, and all the other fish were like swarming around it and stuff, and the turpin were just flapping everywhere, and it was cool to see but very intimidating. And I didn't realize this at the time because our off-brand GoPro screen is so small and hard to see, but I actually did get the stingray on video underneath the rocky edge that we had, because I looked at the videos when we came back home, like on the computer screen, and it was much larger, and I realized that I did get it on video, and I didn't even know it. I was just trying to video all the other fish, and it was just hiding in the background. I think that happened to me at Cozumel also, because I'm pretty sure I got a lobster on video and I didn't even realize it at the time either. I guess that's what happens when you just video a whole bunch and then you get lucky and get things on camera that you didn't even see at the time because they blended in so well. Because this sketchbook is a pretty small sketchbook, I am using it as kind of a travel sketchbook. Obviously, I'll draw on it other times than just when I'm traveling because I don't travel that much, but this is the main one that I do bring with me on cruises and such. So I try to sketch out what I see at each port, And I really like the way this turns out. I think it's a really cool sketchbook spread, and I definitely look forward to seeing those in my sketchbook. So I don't actually bring all my markers and stuff on my trips. I just bring like my pack of colored pencils so that I'll be able to sketch, because all of my art supplies would take up a lot of room in my luggage and I need that room for clothes and such. So I end up coloring everything when I get back home, and I like it because it kind of goes through and I'm able to reminisce on the trip afterwards, and I just really enjoy the sketchbook spreads. I think I've been on around 4 cruises, with my first one being around 2020, 2021. And I wish I had started doing these sketchbook spreads then, because there was 2 cruises that I didn't do that for. And I am having a hard time remembering what I did. And I think the sketchbook spreads are an easy way to remember like what happened during those cruises, what places you went to, and what you saw. So I really wish I had done it for those first 2 so that I could remember. I vaguely remember the second cruise I went on because it was probably the more recent of the 2 that I didn't sketch about, because it was to the Bahamas and it was a girls' trip with me, my sister, and my mom. And I remember we swam with dolphins, but I don't remember much else of that trip. I do remember on the very first cruise we went on that we went on the Carnival Breeze, and I don't remember what boat we were on for the Bahamas one, but then we were on the Celebration for the last spread I did, and then we were on the Paradise for this one. But anyways, it's starting to get to the end of this sketchbook spread. I really enjoyed drawing this fish the most, just because I was able to use a whole bunch of colors that I normally don't, and I went out of my comfort zone a little bit, and I think it turned out the best. I hope you all enjoyed this video, because I do enjoy telling you about my travels and things that I recommend, because I feel like it does help some people. But if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Subscribing helps me out so much, and I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so any number of subscribers helps. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did make it this far, comment the boat emoji.